Alrighty, yo, what is up, Knights? Aegis right here, back with some more DFO PvE on my Elven Knight, guys. As you guys can see, I'm donning a little bit of the festive spirit right now. In fact, I'm not feeling festive enough. Yeah, that's much better. Anyway, guys, Santa is released, by the way, so if you guys haven't used your tokens, make sure you guys do an underfoot. But anyway, guys, finally found an excuse to play my Elven Knight again. It's been a long time since I've made a video, and we are in Mount Kulun, also known as Kulundal. And I'm just going to take this video to try and explain Kulundal all in this one video, and about as brief a way as I can. So you guys can get access here from Shonen, actually, or if you guys look at the Time Gate region, here's the Shonen City. You just go to the left and here's Kulundal. Now the Kulundal I think is accessible at level 84 if I'm not mistaken, or maybe level 85. It's basically endgame stuff. And I'm just gonna quickly showcase what the deal is. It's all at this NPC right here. You guys can see they give quests that give dailies and stuff like this, so you can pick any of these dailies that you can pick. And you got different items that he gives you. Same thing with this old man over here. They both give you dailies. There's also an epic quest line once you get in here, but you can worry about that. It basically just runs you through the dungeons. But the reason you want to do these dungeons, guys, is because they give you these unique items. The daily quests as well as the mobs inside the dungeons, you'll notice will drop these essences right here, the refined Nen crystals, and then you can trade them in for these unique items. Now, most importantly on this list are the ones that are the most expensive. These beads in particular. There are magic stone beads. They give elemental damage +5, and then magic or physical crit, and they go on your magic stone, which currently in this game there is no magic stone card if it doesn't come from an event. This one that I have right now actually came from an event, so this is the only one that's in the game. There's no cards that you can put on it, so you got to get these beads, and such is the best in slot that you can get for the magic stone. So you basically got to farm a lot of these dungeons to get this. And to quickly showcase all of the different items in here, I'm just gonna hover over them real quickly. But aside from that, there's also a daily that gives you these refined interdimensional crystals, and that's the daily I picked up earlier, the supporting the squad. You can get 2 a day, and you can use those to trade in for Chronicle set boxes. Now, they do say set right here, but these are actually the regular Chronicle pieces that are non-set, that kind of drop randomly in dungeon. You can get the Chronicle 2 boxes, and they're selectable, so once you pick it, you know, obviously you can get the skill and the piece that you want. Or if you want the OV3 pieces, you can get the Crack Dimensional, again for your class, and then you can put the R boxes on it. So it's basically an alternative to get Chronicle pieces that are non-set pieces. Like you're not going to get any 9 set pieces or anything from there. But really useful for classes like Rogue and such, which don't even use set pieces. But anyway, guys, we'll just go to the dungeon region. You guys are seeing everybody's festively rocked out right now. We got a lot of people using the auras or the snowman costume. But this dungeon region consists of 3 dungeons, all of which work a little bit differently. And the bosses themselves actually drop something specific only to that dungeon. So I'll just go over that as quickly as I can, or as briefly as I can, just to try to explain how this works. So we're going to go into the first dungeon here. It's called the Watchers of Matron. And this dungeon, it works unlike any of the other 3, obviously, but that's mostly because at the bottom here you can see that there's like a timer, and we get rewarded. I am double freeze, man. Double freeze. All right. It works like a timer at the bottom there, so you can see that the faster we clear this dungeon, the better our rewards will be. And so our reward obviously is going to be those crystals. But if you guys see at the top, it says something about dark energy can be sensed deep from within. What that's talking about is what the boss element is. And you guys can see I'm going to break this statue right here. I'm going to try to pick up this buff. And doing that will give me a damage buff. In this case, it's a light damage. And the reason I chose that is because the little prompt at the beginning said that the boss was of dark element type. So basically what it's telling you is you can kind of build yourself and get buffs to get a little bit stronger so that you can defeat the boss easier. So what you want to do is, you know, kill these guys really quickly, open up these little stones right here, or the dragon statues, and then pick up the buff afterwards. And now that is actually a stacking buff. So if we look down here, now I have light damage plus 100, and I think the duration lasts for the entire dungeon. So again, we get closer to the boss, dark energy becomes stronger, so keep picking up the opposite element that the prompt at the middle of the screen keeps telling you, because the boss is going to be that type of element. So right now I think I have 150 light damage, obviously to help me beat the boss. Now the boss, I'm going to make it seem a lot easier than it is. If you're not really super geared like my Elven Knight is right now, he's going to be a little bit more difficult than this. But what he does, I'm just going to do this slowly. I'm not going to try to beat this in like 5 seconds, but initially, you know, he has different phases. So when he gets to about this much HP, he summons this Nen Dragon, and then he does his own little barrage attack. Right now he's got these flame pillars, but this Nen Dragon is invincible. You can't actually hit him, and all he does is hit you with status effects like freeze, stun, confusion. He's just annoying, and you kind of just gotta ignore him really and just keep damaging the boss. You got these little guys right here that are summoned right here. You know, like I said, he's just grabbing me, being really annoying. After you hit a certain threshold of HP, the boss obviously will unsummon him, and you can see I'm actually taking a lot of damage. I think the threshold is 20 bars right there, yeah. And once that happens, he actually reveals himself, in which case you can see that, like it was mentioning earlier in the dungeon, he is of dark type energy. And because we are wearing light energy, or light, we're stacking a lot of light damage, we're going to do tons of damage to him once he reveals himself. Now, like I said at the beginning of this dungeon, there is a little timer at the bottom that will reward us with these unrefined Nen crystals, and you can see the boss dropped a ton of them on the ground, and that's in correspondence to how fast we are able to clear the dungeon. And it's for this reason, actually, that people use this dungeon to farm gold, because if you can farm this dungeon very quickly, I know I was taking my sweet ass time there, but if you could do it a lot faster, you can get a lot of these crystals. You know, you can get 9, or if you're faster than that. So, than what I did. I only got 8. The boss dropped 8 for me. And the reason why you can farm this for gold is because these unrefined Nen crystals actually sell for 4,000 gold each. And you can see this kind of thing will start adding up, because I got 8 this dungeon. Usually you can get 9. If you're in a fast party, or if you're just really strong yourself, you can do this dungeon in a minute or so and then get a ton of money. So some people use this as a consistent means of farming gold, just because you can sell these Nen crystals for a lot of money. So like I said, it's all about how fast you can do it. If you're not doing it at the peak time, or if it's taking you a long time and you're not getting the maximum efficiency here with the unrefined Nen crystals, it's probably not the best dungeon to farm for money. But it is a consistent dungeon. It's not like, you know, you're farming for your uniques here, which, by the way, none of these 3 dungeons actually drop uniques from the bosses, so that might be a consideration you will have if you're trying to get uniques. You don't actually get them here. You only get, you know, specific loot. But anyway, guys, this is the next dungeon. This is called the Twin Golems dungeon, and obviously there's going to be 2 golems in it. But in this dungeon, guys, there's not really any gimmicks to it, but I will show that there is one optional room. You can usually tell just by the maps that the maps are generally tiny. For a purpose, you know, we're fighting higher level enemies here, and these are very gimmicky, or not really gimmicky, just very specific dungeons. There's an optional room in here, and we're going to go in here just for the sake of the video, but this room right here has an ice golem in it, in which you can, if you save him, or he's getting attacked right now by other, I guess, the evil fire golems and stuff. If you protect him, he will actually drop an ice orb for us, and we actually missed a guy over here, so I'm gonna pick him up. Why is he getting frozen over here, man? Alright. Frozen. Shall repair. So he drops this ice stone right here. If we pick this up, I can't pick it up right now because I can only hold 1 at a time. And it's for a quest. It's for one of the repeatable quests. So you can go in there optionally and go into that room and get that ice stone just for that repeatable quest. Although it's not necessary. If you just want to clear this dungeon, just skip that room entirely, because, you know, honestly, if you're not doing the dailies, like if I forgot to turn them in, actually, then it's not worth it, obviously. So, and again, like I said, these are only like 4 rooms long, so it's not a big deal to just go in there and do that. But, guys, the boss is kind of annoying, and mostly because he is very resistant to fire. I'm actually using my Yang Sword. I should be much stronger. Now, what you could do is try to brute force this guy. You know, I still do decent damage. I can damage him. But this might be the point in time where you might want to consider using a Jack Frost Pod or something like that. You know, or just wearing a neutral weapon so you're not getting resisted by the fact that he's like heavily resistant to fire damage. But what most people do, or what you can do, is also go down here. You can see this ice golem actually does an attack for you, and you receive the blessing of frozen stone. And if you guys see right here, we actually get water damage for a short duration of time, which actually is going to help us out a lot, because now not only are we dealing with fire damage, but we're dealing some light damages, or excuse me, water damage as well. And you can see right here, I'm just going to show off for the sake of just seeing his attacks. He only really has like 2 attacks, or 3, I guess. He summons these guys, he can possibly do that. And he also does this little trap right here. So if you don't escape that trap, what happens? He boxes you in, and he can grab you afterwards. And it does a pretty significant amount of damage. If I was a little less tanky, I would get hit a lot with that. So his last attack is like this fire wave thing that he shoots. He really slows down your movement speed temporarily, and then you have to kind of evade that. That's probably his least harmful attack. But anyway, guys, that's about his suite of attacks. I think we lost our little light damage buff already, so we'd have to get it again. Again, this is why I'd suggest maybe not sticking with your one primary element. Maybe if you have a cube contract, you can mitigate some of the problems with your elemental damage type. For instance, the first dungeon, it can be any of those elements. The boss could be, just kind of depends randomly. This one's really resistant to fire, so you don't want to use fire. Maybe use a cube contract, Jack Frost Potion, or just pick up the buff from this guy for free. So now, guys, we're going to go into the last dungeon, which personally I'd say most people's least favorite dungeon, especially mine. Just because I'll show you when we get through to the point of that it's annoying. First off, the boss itself actually doesn't have a very good item. The only item that he drops is the bead of natrum that I showed off that the NPC sells, and it's kind of a way to not have to pay that 3,000 refined crystals. If you're lucky enough to get the bead drop here, then obviously you don't need to farm for the 3,000 beads, but the boss itself has a chance of dropping those beads, so I guess it could be a way to farm. If you farm this, I guess it might be useful. But the reason why I don't like farming this dungeon, a lot of people don't, is because of this third room right here. I've killed all the enemies here, but the boss has taken it upon himself to keep spamming attacks on you. This is really just a gauntlet. You just got to wait for his attacks to finish. That's really what's annoying about it, honestly. It's just like, no matter how strong you are, you still got to wait for this, so it just takes a long time in terms of farming. Because of this reason, no matter how strong you are, this is going to take the longest time out of all three of the dungeons to do. And the prize, again, like I said, not really worth it extra time. But, he does a barrage attack going on here. He does a tail swipe attack, I think. And that's about it. And you just got to wait here. And he talks a little bit to you, and then he's still not done. Curse me, though. Can I cure the curse? I can't even cure it. Alright, so finally he's done, and then finally we get to the boss. Now the boss himself is also straightforward. As far as I know, he doesn't have any elemental resistance like the other ones, but he does 3 attacks. This one says, I'll turn you to stone. He has a little prompt there. If you're facing to the right, you'll get turned to stone. It's not just if you're looking to him. His other attack is a bite attack right there, kind of sucks you in, and it entraps you, encases you in this like piss yellow crystal. The only way I know you can escape this is if a party member helps you escape it, or you see right here, if I face to the left, I'm not gonna get purified, or petrified. So the only way I know how to escape that attack is to get freed by a party member, or maybe if you have a strong assist. Now when he gets to 10 bars, he actually does this invincibility phase, and then he heals it back up a little bit. I believe he doesn't really change much after that. I think he does more swipe attacks and more fire geysers, but his attacks are pretty lame, I'd say, and not much you got to really worry about, except that bite attack, that one where you encapsulate you in the crystal. That's a dangerous one. Also, he shoots these flamethrower breath. I think he showed off all his attacks. Like, that's about it. Flamethrower breath, fire geysers. There's a sacrifice attack. Okay, we killed him before he got it off. It's a pretty difficult move to avoid, but at the same time, not too difficult. But anyway, guys, hopefully I was able to show off these 3 dungeons. They're really only for end game, and even then, they're very selective end game, I guess you could say. Like, if, for instance, you want to do this every day, if you want to get some selective chronicle boxes, they're not going to be set boxes, but at least you can, for instance, if you're missing a piece, if you're missing, like, to get a full set, you're missing, like, a sub-equipment, you can just buy one really quick for really cheap, and it only takes a few days to farm that. And aside from that, guys, there's possibilities to make a lot of money, especially in the first dungeon, and just doing the daily every day is just really easy. 2 dungeons, and these dungeons are only really like 4 rooms wide, so really easy to farm as well. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. There was a little bit of our new endgame content, and I will catch you knights later.